video is sponsored by Skillshare, an online learning community with thousands of classes in fields from fine art to entrepreneurship. With premium membership, you get unlimited access to quality classes from experts in their fields so you can improve skills, unlock opportunities, and do the work you love. Those looking for more direction and accountability in their art might enjoy the class, a 14-day drawing challenge to unlock your creative self, to give you 2 weeks of daily drawing challenges to complete. Skillshare is an affordable learning platform with annual subscriptions under $10 monthly, but through the link in my description, the first 500 people to sign up can get a 2-month free trial. I highly recommend you take advantage of free classes and then decide for yourself if it is useful to you. Oh, hello, and welcome to my video. Recently, one of my roommates sent me a picture of a Reddit post where someone painted a penny painting, and so I thought, hey, why not? Let's make it a video, but let's make 100 penny paintings, tiny penny paintings. Oh, my son, do I remember this penny? Let me weave you a sailor's tale. See, at the time of this penny, I was quite intimidated by the prospect of painting something small, but what I did not know is that the greatest danger was not the size of my paintbrush. It was that I had yet to understand that I future tense planned to paint 100 of them, rather than just the one. So as you can see, I was trying to demonstrate the size of my paintbrush, the smallest one I owned being about the 4th of the diameter of said penny. This penny I took the most care with because I planned on only doing the one, but then it turned into so much more. Throughout the scope of this video, we're going to go through some of the things I learned, my triumphs and failures, how this evolved, what I did wrong or right, what methodologies worked, what was the general progression, trajectory of the type of art that I made throughout this process. This ended up being very similar to the series I did earlier in 2018 of artathons. Again, we had a very tight time frame, giving us a plethora of strong creative constraints. And what happens when you have to shove a shiz ton of paintings into a tiny portion of time? Well, let me tell you, my son, you have to get creative. You run out of ideas, you have to work faster because you're getting so bored of painting 100 tiny pennies, and new things happen. New ideas are generated, new subject matter is stumbled upon. Let's start with things I learned, though. My process changed slightly throughout the duration of this. As I decided to venture into future tense pennies, more pennies, I started to refine my ideas and my penny painting skill sets a little bit. I came to find best practices for me included painting on the head side of the penny because it had a smoother texture and was more conducive to making the kind of image I wanted without textural interference. The next lesson learned has to do with using acrylic versus oils. I found that in these paintings, when I went straight in with oils, I had a lot less brush control and more muddy colors. This was because I had to paint wet into wet. The paint would glide around more, so as I moved forward, I decided to go in with acrylics at least first, and then if I wanted to, I could smooth it out or bump up glazes, saturation with oils later. My first segment of paintings kind of looked similar to this vibe. Most of them were field-based and sky-based. I did a lot of clouds, I did a lot of small bushes and brushwork. I did all landscapes, but there was an evolution to the flow. And as I got more practice doing more of these, I'm not showing all 100 because, Lord, that would take all day. But I felt more confident with my skills in fine details, so I busted out some nice tree silhouettes in 2 kind of monochromatic type paintings. I was quite happy with these. They took a different direction. They had more atmospheric vibes than the initial paintings I was doing, and overall they felt more mystical, in line with the direction that I'm wanting to go more with my artwork. At this point, I had done a fair number of paintings and I realized I needed to go a little bit faster. I did a more streamlined approach. I covered a lot of pennies with a rough layer of gesso so things were ready to go right away, and I skipped filming a few so that I could bust a move. This is also the portion where I discovered the beauty of the red rock. This is something I haven't really painted before, but I live pretty close to St. George Zion National Park, and I've spent quite a bit of time around the red rocks. So you see, I started with more of these cloud-like landscapes, and next I was venturing into these more sunset rocks, which brought me to my next event. I decided I was going to do groupings of these pennies, give me some themes to work off of in pairings of 9 or 6, and next I wanted to go for water. This particular painting was very intimidating to me. When I initially looked at the reference image, I thought it was beautiful, but I very quickly began to doubt myself when I had to create a winding road around the side of a mountain coupled with a background and a foreground of water. And what was amazing is I thought it turned out quite good. I was really happy with the dimensionality, that shelf of a landing where cars could drive around the side of the mountain. And I'm overall happy with all of the water paintings that I made, but I learned that they couple very well together and help feed each other contextually. So it helps to have multiple around each other to greater inform the details, and in a way they sort of elevate each other. After that, I wanted to keep with the water theme, but I figured I would go for something a little more landlocked, a little more lake-like, pond-like, and so we did a lot of reflective work and went back into trees, but kept with those warm colors, but now with the sunsets. During this portion of time, I did a number of sunset lakes. I was exploring more vibrant colors, and then from there I went into a tropical vibe. My next sets that I wanted to go into was inspired by one of my favorite artists, Ivan Earl. I've talked about him a lot on this channel. He is the illustrator for the background art of Sleeping Beauty. It's absolutely beautiful if you've never seen it before, but I decided to do some inspired by his works, do some pretty directly referencing his artwork, and play him out on a different scale to learn from him in that process. Now, I left out a lot of footage of these paintings, but these are the 100 pennies that I made. This challenge was exhausting and very hard, but I am a huge proponent of making large quantities of work to teach you and help you find new interests. If you want to do something you've never done before, then you have to try things you've never done before in order to achieve that, to unlock your creative potential and new ideas. So if you are in an area of transition wanting to evolve, that's one of the great benefits of creative constraints. Some of the paintings end up being beautiful, some maybe not as much, but each I'm learning things from, and especially with pennies being such a small scale, I can play out ideas very quickly. Each of these paintings took about 30 minutes or under. The more detailed ones, I would say, were about 30 minutes in total. The other exciting thing about seeing such a large bulk of your work is being able to draw commonalities that you're seeing and see what you're particularly drawn to and like the most out of that grouping. It teaches you a little bit about your natural stylistic interests. So often we talk about developing our style as artists, but often we already have a style. It's just that we haven't flushed it out in a large quantity and allowed it to develop. So by having a large quantity of works like this, I can see the things that I am emphasizing and doing in each of them that carries a common tone that I want to bring into my larger scale works as I continue to develop new bodies of work, especially in this era of this new 2019 and my renewed interest in delving deeper into refining my skills and deep dive exploring my artwork. Because I liked the paintings so much in groups, I decided to pair them in sixes so that they could help inform and elevate each other. And if you have any interest in purchasing a bundle of 6, you can do so on my website at robinsealark.com. Link in description. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. It was tremendously difficult. If you would like to support this channel at all, you can do so by following any of my social media accounts, subscribing to this channel, or my Patreon, or you can buy any of the 100 pennies that I make today or any of my other paintings on my website at robinsealark.com. Just so you guys know, the shipping on these paintings will be a little bit delayed, so I can allow them to dry and then put a protective resin of sorts on top of them to seal in the paintings. And I need all of that to dry before I ship it out to you. And yeah, I'll see you guys, in the future. I mean next week when my next video comes out.